Listen, Terrence Crawford is undefeated, 3-division world champion, fighting for his 4th weight division to be a world champion, 2-division undisputed. This guy is on a track to being one of the best fighters, if not the best fighter who's ever lived. Like, literally, pound for pound, all time is where he's headed if he can maintain what he's been doing. If he stays undefeated and has the ability to unify 154, he's going to retire as the best fighter who's ever lived.
I'll even toss in Canelo in the conversation. If Terrence Crawford becomes undisputed at 154 and beats Canelo, will that make him the best fighter to ever live? Or is Chris Algieri the prisoner of the moment? I mean, if you figure if he cleans out 154 and beats Canelo, depends what the IBF does, he'd be a 4-time undisputed champion. And before that, they was talking about Mayweather because he went 50-0. But you look at all-time greats, like Willie Pep is considered one of the greatest ever to do it. He's had 240 fights and has won 230 of them. And Sugar Ray Robinson, at 30 years old, he was 129-1, had a 91-fight winning streak. Unbelievable. And then J.C. Chavez was right behind him with an 89-fight winning streak. And then you look at Henry Armstrong, who was undisputed in 3 different weight classes. Back then, they didn't have all these organizations and belts, and you could not pick and choose. So when Mayweather says, I fought 23 champions, different champions or whatever, back then, the champion was the champion. We didn't have all these belts. Now, another guy they talk about is Harry Greb. Now, a guy I used to work with, his grandfather, great-grandfather fought against Harry Greb. His name was Mickey Walker. But I can't find any footage on Harry Greb in a boxing match. But people swear that he's the best ever to do it. Then you got fighters like Sugar Ray Leonard, you have Thomas Hearns, and you have Oscar De La Hoya, who were champions in 5 different weight classes. So what cracks me up when I meet these prisoners of the moment, they will say some stuff like, well, Canelo will beat Sugar Ray Robinson. Terrence Crawford beat Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns. And when you look at that era of boxing, there was no ducking. You had to fight the guy who's next up. There was no ducking. These guys pick and choose now. You couldn't do that back then. And more than likely, the all-time greats back then had over 100 fights. Sugar Ray Robinson, Willie Pep, Henry Armstrong. You can even throw Chavez in there who had over 100 fights. These guys are not fighting as much as those guys was. And I also feel this era of boxing is watered down. I mean, back in the day, they had 8 weight classes. And now I think they have, 17, 18 weight classes? So to me, and it's just my opinion, if Terrence Crawford is able to pull that off, become undisputed at 154, more than likely if he does that, if Spence wins against Fedor, we'll get the rematch between him and Spence. And then we got Canelo Alvarez, which if he does that, because I don't even believe he can do it, but if he does that, that would put him in the top 15, top 10 ever. But I cannot put him number 1 because the era he fights in. And don't get me wrong, Terrence Crawford will be competitive in any era. It's just that he fights in this era. And I think the fight fans in today's era is quick to call someone the GOAT. They already calling Anthony Edwards the GOAT, and he hasn't done anything. Remember, when Ryan Garcia smashed on Devin Haney, it was some content creators that wanted him to be in a pound-for-pound list with no titles. On a side note, I do read some of these comments, and I think they're funny because some people cannot stand Terrence Crawford. And they will say he has a weak resume, he hasn't fought anybody, Spence was weight drained. They say all this stuff. They will not say he's not a great fighter. If you name it all this stuff wrong with him, he cannot be a great fighter in your eyes. I'd probably be called a fanboy for this comment, but oh well. In my opinion, Terrence Crawford, even if he accomplished all that, I cannot say he's the best fighter to ever live because the era he fights in. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Jay Beasy, I'm gone.